Hello, my name is Carlos David, and I'm the creator and the photographer of the Personae II. I have a background as a writer and as an actor, so fiction and transformation have always been something very important in my life. Therefore, I started experimenting with transformation as a way to communicate at a different level, at an artistic level with my community. I started the first installment to collaborate with the people that are around me, and I continued with the second installment because I wanted to have, or I want to have, a more clear impact on today's society. Given the actual political environment, I'm very concerned about marginalized populations, about how we are divided by tags, how I suddenly become Latino, or I suddenly become Mexican, or I suddenly become immigrant, or I suddenly become this tag, and this tag defines me as an individual. And I believe that we are all human beings at a place, in a moment in life, and we should not be defined by these social tags. So, en este proyecto Personae II decidimos trabajar con comunidades con poca representación y con grupos marginalizados, porque quería hablar de temas sociales desde un punto de vista de la ficción, o desde el punto de vista de la ficción. Hablar de estos temas sin explícitamente mencionar el tema. Un poco con la intención de que el público pueda sentir una cercanía diferente a las personas que participan en el proyecto. Es muy interesante poder, en un proyecto fotográfico, trabajar cosas muy personales de las personas con las que trabajas y de tus sujetos, donde no es solamente la imagen, pero es el proceso de crear esa imagen. Therefore, I decided that on this second installment, the best way for me to approach the issues that I want to discuss was to make a collective of characters that all relate through conflict and trauma. That is a line that will connect each one of these characters, each one on their own level, each one on their own situation, each one on their own world. The idea is, what are the things that are relating all these characters to have them all together in the same room? And why am I, as the spectator, here in the same room as all these people? And for me, it's because we're all in the same world and we're all part of the same. And no matter how much I want to change the other one, or I want to not let the other one be, or they don't want to let me be, no matter what, we're all in the same place at the same moment. And we're all alive. And in my ideal world, we're all free to transform and become whoever we want to be.
If we talk about sexuality, the first thing that happens when somebody gets injured and becomes disabled, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna have intimacy. I do not feel, I can't do this, I can't do that. So their self-esteem goes to the floor. I had a boyfriend, and the first thing I said was like, let me call my boyfriend and tell him that we're breaking up because I'm not useful anymore. So a lot of the people think that they're not useful, that nobody's gonna love them, nobody's gonna want them, and it's not like that. It's just lack of knowledge. Cumplo el 13 24 años. O sea, a mí me pasó muy jovencita. Fue un cambio de 360 grados. O sea, yo cerré los ojos tenía una vida, cuando lo abrí, totalmente diferente, aprender de esa vida. Todo lo que yo hago en mi vida es porque yo no me quiero arrepentir el día de mañana que yo me pare y yo diga, ay, ¿yo por qué no hice esto? ¿Por qué no lo intenté? ¿Por qué no me lancé? Yo estaba estudiando en la universidad en Colombia y ahí me quedó la carrera y yo no. Yo termino lo que yo empiezo y me gradué. Con honores, todo divino. Le di el cartón a mi papá, que era lo que yo quería. Al menos darle el cartón. He believed in me so much, like to lead in my family, amongst my siblings and everything. Cleopatra was that. And she conquered and she ruled in a world that it wasn't even hers. She went to Rome and she figured it out. I identify myself with her. And yes, I'm in this different world. Remember, this is a disability world. And I came to this world and I'm here to conquer.
Somewhere to be, I'm sure. In a city river and be run like a waterfall. Feel the flood come, I feel so full. Spilling on the street, turn granite into Amazon. Often in life, I feel small. And that's been an interesting contrast to the freedom and sense of fullness I feel when I'm on a stage. It almost demands a sense of truth that I don't even understand or comprehend, but yet manifests me. And I think I've always felt that way, you know? Perhaps more as an adult as I kind of grow or evolve with insecurities or overcome them, or, you know, the complexities of becoming an independent and expressive being, right? And it's always interesting to me that all of that kind of goes away on a stage, and I am my full self. Musical writing is the first medium I have found where I can make art about things that matter more than my individual experience. And it's been a way for me to be active and reflecting on injustice and racism and classism and xenophobia, and has been a way to community build. And art did that, and I didn't know that I could do that with art. Because I want to be okay with myself. It is the thing I want the most. I want to be full and strong in quiet and in stillness. I think it's part of this, you know, what I am taking from this summer, this kind of leap into myself as opposed to a leap out into the world. I spent so much of my childhood insecure with who I was and how I looked and what I had to be, as many people do. And I felt, I never felt secure enough, and even as an artist working in professional theater. And I'm kind of done, because I've proved to myself time and time and again that I can do things that matter to people other than me. And I want to preserve that feeling. And I think I can only do that if I'm strong enough to take risk. And I can only take risk mindfully if I am myself.
Diez mujeres se mueren al día en México. No se mueren, las matan en México. Hoy, esto es una cuestión que es mucho más nueva, ¿no? O sea, mucho más como novedosa, y es una de las temáticas de mi trabajo, como intentar combatir que el machismo que existe en México se convierta en este fenómeno de feminicidio. Y lo peor de todo es que los feminicidios vienen siendo normalmente o familiares o las parejas de la mujer que matan a la mujer. Entonces, es difícil intentar combatir esto desde un punto de vista personal, pero al mismo tiempo que tu arte se convierta en algo que combata esto de una forma política. Digo, tengo que hacer algo al respecto. Entonces, pues, todos mis ámbitos de la vida intentan entrar en este tema de cambiar eso, de equidad de género, de intentar bajar la violencia entre seres humanos, de cómo podemos hacer algo al respecto para que a través de la empatía una vida mucho más pacífica, mucho más respetuosa. Este personaje es para mí como una forma de ver más allá del género y intentar ver al ser humano como energía, ¿no? Como colores, como una multiplicidad de factores que generan un ser humano. Como que ya no veas, tiene genitales masculinos o femeninos, sino sea como rojo y todo lo que conlleva el rojo, que te presta al observador la capacidad de observar, discernir, es rojo. ¿Y qué significa para mí? Crear un significado para esa persona. Que yo no te esté diciendo ya como sociedad qué significa esto para ti. Este es este traje de luz que proyecta luz y yo te dejo a ti, observador, crear ese significado. Entonces compartimos la autoría de la obra. Donde yo no te digo como patriarchy o como gobierno patriarcal qué tienes tú que pensar, sino que te invito a que seas un autor de lo que estás viendo.
Oh yeah, that's like predominantly the modeling that I do. Because the first time I ever modeled was for an art class. Because I'd always wanted to be a model, but like when you're short and fat, people are like, you'll never be a model. You're not 6'1" and a size 2. That's impossible. And so you kind of just like have that in your mind where you're like, well, that's not for me. Well, that's not for me. And then I found out about art modeling and I kind of just called a couple classes. And somebody called me back and she was like, yeah, you know, you got shape. That's good. You know, we like to have people who have shape, you know. No one wants to draw a straight line. So this is good. This is good. You know, so I go to this class and I have all these people draw me. And at the end of the class, you're like, oh, whoa, that's like my body on like as an art piece. Like, that's wild. That's crazy. And so it kind of helped, that really helped shift my idea of like what being a model is, like what being a model can be. And so I just stuck with it. I was like, I love this. This is great. Like, this makes me feel good about myself. This makes me feel empowered about the body that I have, like in a way that nothing in this world ever has, because I live in a world that does not like fat people, that, you know, tells you you're worthless and that you should lose weight and get your flat tummy tea and get your summer body ready and like all of these things that just pushes diet culture onto people so that they hate themselves, so they buy things they don't need because their bodies are fine. I've always been pretty curvy. That's always just kind of been my body shape. And I remember being in high school and I was probably like I was significantly smaller than I am now. And I had a teacher tell me, because I did theater and choir when I was young, and I had my choir teacher tell me, he was like, well, you know, if you wanted to do opera, you're fine. But if you want to do Broadway, you'd need to lose weight. A grown man told me this when I was 17 years old in a room full of people. And that's not even the first time a man has told me something about my body to my face. Okay, so Anne Margaret, I love Anne Margaret. I love the movie Bye Bye Birdie. It's ridiculous and campy. I think most people, because I'm, you know, kind of have a musical theater background, I think most musical theater kids, they kind of go with Grease. That's like their classic. Everybody likes Grease. I don't like Grease. I don't like it at all because it's basically a girl. I mean, they both kind of changed themselves for each other, but like Sandra Dee, it's like, girl, you changed everything about your personality for a man. Like, girl, that's boring. But Kim McAfee is absolutely 100% her own person. No one is going to tell her what to do. She's going to do whatever she wants, and she's going to talk you into wanting to do it too. That's why I love Kim McAfee. Like, Kim McAfee is a boss. She's just a boss out here living her life, doing whatever she wants to do, and she gets away with it every time. It's great. I love any opportunity to show representation, which is, I think, what I bring to the table. So I love that. I think I have a lot to offer in what I do. And so obviously I want to do that more, and I want to share that more, and hopefully that will help other people. Like, that's what I want to do, is I want to show other people that, like, you can be comfortable in who you are. Like, you can be who you are, and it's fine. Like, it's beautiful, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with the way that you are, because that's who you are. You have to walk around with your body every day. Like, why would you hate yourself? People spend so much time hating themselves. It's like, ugh, that's a waste of time. You could be out here Kim McAfee style, you know, kicking ass and taking names, and then wearing cute outfits. That's a way better plan.
You know, not everyone is born hating a certain kind of person. It takes society telling them that. And slowly but surely, society is beginning to teach us that trans people are okay. We're not comedic relief, we're not scary, we're not men in dresses, we're people. I've fallen so many times down a hole, and now not only have I pulled myself up out of that hole, I have filled it with soil, and it is closed, and there is no way I'm ever falling in that hole ever again. Won't allow it. Somehow I knew that I could do something. I've struggled and hated myself and felt hopeless for so long, but there was always something in the back of my head saying, nope, keep going, keep going, keep going. If you just stick out for a little bit longer, things will get better, and you will be able to make changes because you're a bad bitch. Queen Elizabeth I was a very, very inspiring figure growing up because she lived in a time when men had all the power. And it wasn't like today where men have power. Back then, men had all the power, like all the power. Women were considered nothing. Like, forget race, forget all of that. It was just, if you were a woman, goodbye. She somehow had this unique personality in which she said, no, I'm worth more than that. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to get married or have kids. This is my throne. I'm keeping it. I need to stay in power because this country needs a woman in charge. And she resisted that her entire life, and she had a great reign. She was great for the country, and I love her.
La cultura es una herramienta importante, ¿no? Para nosotros, digamos, como los más marginados, por decir, del color de nosotros, tenemos una forma de vida propia. Tenemos un chat, yo y mi familia, y son mis hermanas, y de repente una de mis hermanas le gusta hacer bromas, y ella encuentra a este personaje, y me dice, o este pudiste haber sido tú. Y todas empiezan a reír porque dicen es idéntico, ¿no? Y me empezaron a hacer como bromas y burlas, ¿no? Y me puse a pensar, ¿no? Dije, sí. Pues identidad viene siendo saber de dónde vienes, saber quién eres exactamente en todos los aspectos. Identidad también para mí es reconocer las morales, ¿no? Pues me siento bien mexicano y me siento muy contento de seguir viviendo en América, ¿no? Porque lo que hicimos es solamente caminar un poquito más para el norte.
July 10th, 2019. It's hot. I love the heat. So here,
I just wrote this upstairs for you on this hot, clear morning. Let me write this from the back seat of a car. The driver's in love with the girl beside him. If she's not in love with him, she's mid-fall and on the way. I can see it in her smile. I hear it in the light laugh in her voice, and I feel it in the way she bounces in her seat when she tells him a memory from some time or another. I know the signs. I know them from many, many years of experience, though it's been a long, long time since I made a woman's face smile like hers does this morning, and a long time since I've seen what I see in her profile, that her feelings are still her secret. And because he's driving with his eyes on the road ahead, she can permit her own eyes to light up as she speaks to the side of his face. And I see it in how they have given each other brief, insightful exchanges like riddles in what they remember, or what they see, or what they hope for. Short sentences. No monologues when you're falling in love, because more is said in a look and a nod than anything you could try to say. I guess it's the way they're connected to the universe, the way the world is their stage, how they are hesitant to take anything for themselves, too awestruck to presume to take what the other is offering, and so they try to give a little instead. Lord knows they're not trying to impress each other. That would ruin everything, wouldn't it? She's letting the open window blow through her hair and her elbows bent so that her chin can rest on her hand. I don't have to see her face to know she's happy, hopeful, wondering about tomorrow. Is this the improbable day? Lasting love is so improbable, isn't it? So rare, and one can't seek it. It comes to you, doesn't it? Has it come to her this mid-afternoon? His hands are on the wheel. He's tired, I think, because he keeps lurching forward to ease his back, and his hands are strong-looking. He's already told her he's a farmer, and when he admitted that he was sure that a woman like this, so beautiful and youthful, full of life, somehow homespun, but so well-traveled, oh, she must have found many lovers. A girl too beautiful to stay put. She left home. And so talented. She's a singer and is known for bending blues notes at the right moment to bring a tear to the eye in Montreal, Tijuana, Denmark, Sweden, Spain, London, Belfast. She could not be impressed with a farm boy, but she is. His modesty doesn't permit him to see this in her. It's what she feels without knowing exactly how or why. Does that matter? And besides, she's sung enough songs to know that love is above all a mystery. And she sees there's something in him deep, constant, reliable. He's learned a thing or two about the weather, about the big brown eyes of his cattle, about rising before dawn, about bringing water with him on the tractor because he knows how the sun, while it lifts his corn crop from the ground to his knees and by tomorrow it seems to his shoulder, and then that afternoon rustling over his head, the ground smelling dry, cracked, warm, the blinding green. He knows the sun can't help but beat a man working in a field. It's part of the deal with life. It's how the day circles the earth and the earth circles the sun, and how love above all makes it all go round, as the old song goes. He pulls to the side of a country road, dust billowing behind his rearview mirror. He slows to a stop. She looks at him. There's high corn on either side of the road. It seems endless, like there's miles of it. A rustling sea of green leaves. Have you ever got lost in a cornfield? No. Want to? Their doors open and close, and they meet in front of the car. He begins to walk her off the road toward the rows, and I'm not sure, so I bend forward to see, and yes, she's taken his hand in hers. Happy birthday, Carmen. Our kids love you, and I love you. I said it was a cornfield.